Am I the jerk for telling my coworker she needs to manage her time better? I, 20 female, work at a small hotel as a front desk employee. Due to being a student, I can only work part-time, about 3-4 days a week during breaks, 2 to 3 days during school. One of my coworkers, Abby, 21 female, also works as a front desk employee, but she works full-time. I find her nice to hang around with, and we became friends somewhat close, but due to our schedules, we don't really hang out outside of work. Besides us, there are 3 other employees working the front, with 2 of them on overnight shift and the 3rd being part-time as well. The issue I have with my coworker is that she keeps on asking me to cover her shifts. Like, a lot. Every single week, she texts me to cover her shift because she forgot a plan, isn't feeling well, or something else. I sometimes take her shifts if I can, or at least trade shifts. However, she asks me so frequently, I actually got upset. She also occasionally asks my other coworker, 24 female, but she always rejects Abby, so Abby stopped asking her. Last week alone, she asked me to work her Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday shift. I rejected her because I was out of town and also requested Sunday off. Last month, she asked me like 5 times. Yesterday, she texted me again, asking why I keep refusing to cover her shifts. And if I'm being honest, I was already in a terrible mood, and Abby asking me this only made me more angry. I tell her she needs to stop asking me to work her shift so much, because she's asking me weekly, and I don't always have time to cover for her. She tells me that she just had plans and the schedule doesn't accommodate her all the time. I tell her to request off, cut her hours, or talk to the manager. This is where she gets really upset and starts ranting to me about how she's struggling to pay for her car and has to deal with her boyfriend, family, and pets. I tell her she needs to manage her time better, which is when she leaves me on red. In hindsight, I was pretty upset and should have been more careful about what I said. I feel guilty, but at the same time, manage your time better? So, am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for leaving my mom at the airport with no ticket and no plan? This still weighs on me. Some background. My mom was abusive growing up. It got bad enough that at 12 I left home through the courts and moved in with my dad. That decision fractured our family. On the court paperwork, under name of child, she wrote something like, "I have no son." I've carried that with me ever since. I had little contact with her after that, briefly at 17, again in my 20s, and not consistently until much later. I'm now almost 40. I spent over 20 years drinking heavily and finally got sober in 2018, which is when I made an effort to reconnect with family, including my mom. She's closer to 70 now and has 0 contact with 2 of her 3 kids. Reconnecting wasn't easy. When I asked if she ever reflected on the abuse, she told me I was an adult and needed to let it go already. That was a turning point. I realized any forgiveness would be one-sided. If I wanted peace, it was on me. Since then, our relationship has been rocky, but present. We've had family reunions, even traveled overseas together for 3 weeks. We argue often, usually over small things, but we stayed in contact until this. The plan was simple. She'd arrive on Wednesday, we'd go to the concert on Thursday, she'd fly out to visit my sisters on Friday, and I'd leave early Saturday for my own trip. She agreed. When she arrived, she mentioned she only bought a one-way ticket and would book the Friday flight later. This made me uneasy, and I reminded her several times to make sure it was booked. I thought I was clear in my wording and tone that I didn't want anyone staying in my house while I was gone. Friday came. The concert was fine. Then she told me she still hadn't bought a plane ticket, and now, with prices have gone up, she planned to stay a few extra days while I was away. I told her plainly, "I'm leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow. You need to get on that plane." I even offered to cover the extra cost. She refused and invited herself to stay at my place. That's when I said clearly that I wasn't comfortable with anyone staying in my home while I wasn't there. She accused me of not trusting her and said she was my mother. I said it wasn't about trust, I just didn't want anyone in my house. The argument escalated. Finally, she said, "Fine, take me to the airport." I think she expected me to cave. I didn't. I packed the car, grabbed my daughter, and drove her to the airport in silence. When we arrived, it felt like a standoff. Like she was waiting for me to say, "Never mind, don't go." I didn't. I took her bag out, set it on the curb, and told her, "If you can't find a ticket, let me know. I can help to pay for a hotel." Then I left. Months later, I'm still thinking about it. I don't think I stranded my mom with no options. I offered to cover the cost of the flight and hotel, but I did leave her at the airport knowing she hadn't booked a ticket. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for firmly telling my wife to be grateful for what she has? My 29-year-old wife and I, 33 male, recently married and we agreed to pool our finances together. I earn much more than she does, making $150K while she makes $50K. The house we live in is owned by me and we lived here together for about a year before marrying. I'm extremely careful with finances and have had strict budgets for myself. This has helped me save $150K in retirement funds already and another $50K prepared for the mortgage. My wife, on the other hand, has very little financial sense. She has $0 in her name, but at least no debt. When she lived with me, I paid for all the bills except for some groceries. Otherwise, she spends all of her money. With our money combined, our take-home income is $11K, about $8,000 from me and $3,000 from her. Our monthly spending is about $6K for mortgage, groceries, car payments, living expenses, etc. I then use $2K to prepay the mortgage faster. $2K goes into our retirement accounts. With the last $1,000, we get another $500 into our accounts for fun spending money. She spends all of this every month to the dollar. Meanwhile, I have like $2,000 extra in my account just sitting around. In the last few months, she has grown resentful for our small allowance and has told me she wants separate finances again. I plainly told her if she wants to do that, she can put $3K a month of her money right into our shared monthly expenses, and that means she has nothing left for herself. She called me unfair and said I financially control/abuse her, and saying that I should restrict her spending. In a heated argument, I pretty much told her what I had in my head the whole time. 1. She doesn't earn enough to justify her luxury ideas of living. And 2. She should be grateful because if she didn't have me supporting her, she would have nothing. No house, no retirement. Since then, she's told her friends about this and they've come to see me as a controlling jerk of a husband. So, am I the jerk for telling my wife these things? Edit. To clarify, the house would be considered a joint asset now because we are married and she owns half of it now. Am I the jerk for telling my neighbor to go through insurance? Our car slipped on black ice and I hit my neighbor's mailbox. Gave her my insurance info. She said my insurance wanted her to pay up front and she didn't have the money. I said I would buy the mailboxes and pay my handyman to put them in, but it would be after the first of the year because the mailbox wouldn't be in until December 29th and he had family plans. On December 29th, she called me, but I couldn't answer because my daughter was sick. I texted the handyman and asked him to arrange what day he could come and install. He told her he had the mailbox and arranged for Friday the 2nd to install when he was back in town. On December 31st, she texted me sarcastic text messages that I didn't care for. I told her my daughter ended up in the hospital and I couldn't return her call, which is why my handyman reached out to arrange a date and time. She said out of respect I should have called her back, that I should be ashamed of myself and be more apologetic. I've already had 2 30-minute calls where I profusely apologized. I told her to go through insurance if I wasn't doing it fast enough. She then sent this text. And you are the homeowner that plowed over my mailbox. So completely disrespectful and sinful. You should be ashamed and embarrassed and apologetic. Call handyman? You are pathetic. I then sent this and blocked her. I'm returning the mailbox. Go through insurance. You have the info. I didn't have to buy them and pay handyman to put them in. He told you he'd be there on Friday and I told you the same thing. That obviously isn't good enough. So go through insurance. Am I the jerk for making her go through insurance after she started calling me names? Edit to add info. Her mailbox is still usable, and she is still getting mail. It just had a crack. She picked the mailbox and it would arrive on the 29th. She knew that, but wanted the specific mailbox. I sent the handyman over to fix her leaky sink, and I've also dropped off treats and homemade bread as an I'm sorry. I have answered all her calls except the one on the 29th. I used that iPhone feature where you can text and the phone will tell the person calling. I said my daughter is sick, the handyman will reach out to schedule. He reached out and scheduled for the 2nd. She texted on the 31st that I should have called her personally and I should be ashamed. Told her my daughter ended up at the hospital RSV, and I thought it was resolved because she had a date with the handyman. She texted back, "Okay, you're pathetic." And she kept going on with how I was sinful. I told her to go through insurance. One more edit. I'm a female with absolutely no tools. I pay the handyman to fix things. If I knew how to do it, I would have done it. but I've learned it's more cost effective when I make way more working my job and paying someone to do it right the first time. Update. Someone advised that I contact my insurance company to see if she had made a claim. She did weeks ago and said she'd been turning in receipts. My handyman reached out and asked if he could buy the mailbox from me, since it was a nice one instead of me having to return it. I gave it to him for the inconvenience of his schedule being cancelled. While we were talking, he said she had requested a copy of receipts even though I was paying him directly. Also, I already had a claim open because there's damage to my car, so the deductible is going to get paid anyway. This will not cost me extra and I have accident forgiveness. And one less neighbor I have to wave to, lol. Am I the jerk for ruining my friend's live stream because he complained about the game I invited him to play? I, 20 male, have a friend, 24 male, that is a streamer. He does live streams as a hobby and he dreams of making a profit from it. Long story short, we have been friends for almost 3 years, and because we've lived in different countries, we have only met each other 2 times in person. We both love to play video games, and that's how we met, and we keep hanging out. Today, while he was doing a live stream, after some time playing multiplayer games and being quite stressed out about it, he wanted to play a single player game, but because I wanted to keep playing with him, I recommended playing a chill game called Power Wash Simulator 2. Now, before, and for a couple of weeks, I've been trying to get him to play it, but he always refuses, saying he doesn't like those chill and cozy types of games. But today he said, in a very annoyed tone, that he was gonna give it a try. Because it was the first time he played it, he had to complete a tutorial first, and then he could be invited to my party to play together. However, while he was playing it, he complained about the game and trashed it non-stop. I told him to just go to the game he wanted to play in the first place if he was gonna not enjoy playing it. But he ignored me and just continued. He kept saying comments like, "Look how much fun I'm having with this. This is a very entertaining game to stream, right, chat? Bro, how do you have fun doing this? This game is trash." And his chat was also trashing it, commenting things like, "I think you should play something else though. What the heck is this? This became a very entertaining stream." And he would agree with every single comment about it while laughing. But he didn't just trash the game. He was also saying comments about me. "I'm wasting my time because of my friend. I don't know what kind of trash this weirdo likes to play." That's where I felt humiliated. He was blaming me for his unpleasant time playing it and trashing me with his viewers for no reason. After some time, he said that he was done with the tutorial, which took him a long time. I felt so angry, so I didn't reply to him. And he decided to go to the single player game he wanted to play in the first place. Now, I felt like I had to get back at him somehow. So I went to his chat and said, "Thank you for humiliating me and making me feel bad for inviting you to play something. I really appreciate it." Before I closed the stream, I heard him say something like, I really don't want to deal with this right now. I'm shutting the stream off." And his chat went completely silent. After that, he said I ruined the mood of the stream because of my attitude, and that I shouldn't take it personally because it was just a game, and that I should learn how to take a joke. So, am I the jerk for ruining the mood of his stream?
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, check out all the social media down below in the description. Follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And let me know in the comments what kind of games you'd like to watch me play and what kind of stories you'd like to hear me read. This is Gumarrow signing off. Stay lovely, stay safe. Peace.